This evening. Good. So we're also on Facebook Live, so I just want to say hello to everyone on Facebook. I really appreciate everyone coming in here, and I appreciate everyone who watches us on Facebook Live. We are talking about lifestyle diseases today. What can we do about them? Which ones are considered lifestyle diseases? And what can we change to actually minimize our lifestyle diseases? There are so many things that we can do for ourselves that can actually make our lives so much healthier. So this is actually a quote from me, sorry. Lifestyle choices lead to lifestyle diseases, and therefore choices can reverse lifestyle diseases and revitalize life. And that's what we do here, and that's what we help our patients do every single day. Basically what we're looking for with the nutrition response testing are organ systems that are not working optimally. We find out what those organ systems are. We find out if there's something stressing those organs. We fill in the blanks nutrition-wise to help those organs heal. Once they begin their healing process, we're simultaneously looking at the diet. What are we eating that's good for us? What are we eating that's not good for us? And sometimes more importantly is what are we not eating that is good for us that we can add back to the diet to nourish our systems? The body is extremely complicated. There are so many processes that happen on a second-by-second basis. Second-by-second basis. And yet all the body is asking for is the basic nutrition to get these processes going forward. Vitamins, minerals, digestive enzymes, amino acids, and fatty acids. Give the body the raw material, and all we have to do is sit back, enjoy our life, and take care of ourselves. So lifestyle diseases are defined as any medical condition or disorder regarded as being associated with the way in which a person lives. And that's what we're going to talk about today. I've picked the top 5. There are many. And we'll kind of go over in general some at the end. But these are the top 5 that not only the World Health Organization has listed as lifestyle diseases, but we're also suffering with them here. So of course we start with heart disease and stroke. Heart disease is the #1 killer of Americans that is considered a lifestyle disease. We can actually change how healthy our heart is with the things that we do: exercise, eating good foods, drinking plenty of water, not smoking, drinking, or taking drugs. Most often the heart is the victim. The heart is a muscle. It works very hard from before we're born. It's actually the first organ system that is recognized in utero, even before the brain is recognized in utero. So think about it. The heart is beating a minimum of 60 to 72 beats per minute optimally from before you're born to the exact day that you die. That's like doing bicep curls that often. It's a muscle. It works. It needs energy. It needs food. And it doesn't need us to block it up with clogging arteries and not giving it the nutrient that it needs to perform optimally. High blood sugar causes the vascular system to become dysfunctional, therefore reducing oxygen levels. Vitamin deficiencies cause the pumping mechanism to malfunction and not pump correctly. High cholesterol can cause hardening of the arteries so that the body actually has high blood pressure. So harder for the heart to pump against something that's clogged versus something that's open. Lack of exercise weakens that muscle, as would lack of exercise would weaken any muscle in the body. This is just a cute little diagram that we have of the heart is doing the very best that it can. It's pumping. The brain is like, come on, guys, give the heart a bit of a break. The vascular system is saying, we need more oxygen. The lungs are saying, we're getting congested because the heart's not pumping hard enough, and the heart just continues to work harder and harder. An example of how the heart is the victim. It's trying to do multiple jobs, believe it or not. By getting that oxygen out there, it perfuses the body with oxygen, it removes cellular debris, carbon dioxide, it circulates every time our body has a heartbeat. The entire blood flow goes through the body. And so the heart is working very hard. Diabetes as a lifestyle disease. Diabetes type 1 can also be in a small amount looked at as a lifestyle disease. This is diabetes type 2. What they're thinking, this is the thought process, is that when we're introduced to an inflammatory process, when we're young, something that ends up being an autoimmune disease, the body attacks the pancreas and reduces the beta islet cells' ability to produce insulin. Type 1 diabetes sets in. That used to be considered a childhood disease. We're actually getting more and more adults becoming insulin dependent, and that's because type 2 diabetes can be something that is out of control. We do have type 2 diabetics that take very good care of themselves and keep their blood sugar under control, understanding the importance of maintaining that blood sugar long term. Insulin hormone is responsible for reducing blood sugar in the body. Insulin hormone is also the cause of diabetes. Excessive sugar in the blood is the symptom of diabetes. So the fact that insulin is not able to communicate with the cells properly increases our blood sugar levels to the point where the rest of the body is adversely affected. Insulin resistance sets in, and the first organ that stops using insulin properly is the liver. So the liver, since it's not getting the proper information, is creating new sugar, gluconeogenesis. And it's just a backflow of the body's dysfunctional relationship with insulin and its ability to utilize sugar as a food source or an energy source. Our body takes in sugar, glucose, in any form, whether it's a simple carbohydrate, a complex carbohydrate, a refined sugar, a natural sugar, or a fruit sugar. It converts it in the cells using the Krebs cycle to ATP. ATP is the currency that our body uses to produce energy in that cell. So we take in food and our body converts it into energy. It's a very similar mechanism of we put gas in our car and it produces the car to move forward. So it's just a conversion of one fuel source for another fuel source, energy for energy. As your insulin goes up, it becomes more and more difficult to lose fat because the body is in a tug of war with storing energy, maintaining energy. What we'll typically see with our patients is their triglycerides will go up. When I see triglycerides on a lab going into the 2s, 3s, 400s, my first question is, what are you eating? That is a sugar handling problem. The body is trying to take that extra sugar that you're taking in and convert it into something that it can store. We don't store sugar, we store fat. You're setting yourself up for diabetes in the future. Eyes, skin, the heart, kidneys, nerves, and bones are all systems of the body that are affected by high blood sugar levels. And these are the symptoms that patients will potentially get over time as their blood sugar stays out of control. Diseases related to smoking, like emphysema, COPD, asthma, cirrhosis, fatty liver disease, and of course, cancer. Smoking is still the single largest cause of preventable disease in the United States and kills 480,000 Americans each year. If you went to your car dealer and he says you're about to buy a car that's going to kill 480,000 Americans this year, would you buy that car?
That's on the deal.
People will buy cigarettes knowing that they can be very dangerous to their body. And cigarettes, when I first started buying cigarettes for my dad when I was a very little girl, were 50 cents a pack. My dad swore that when they got to $1, he would stop. He did not. He did, in fact, stop after I think they were around $3 and some change, and he stopped because he had an uncontrollable cough that really kind of scared him. My dad's been smoke-free for a long, long time, but it's not the price of the cigarettes that encourages people to stop smoking. It's not. And it's not the fear of death, and it's not the fear of cancer. Usually folks will have to have some other motivating factor to help them stop smoking. And it's usually something that's important to them. They want to go hiking, they have grandkids, they want to do something that they're unable to do now because smoking is inhibiting their ability to do that particular task. Smokers, of course, are more likely to develop heart disease, stroke, and lung cancer. And of course, smoking harms nearly every organ in the body. And of course that makes sense because the lungs are responsible for exchanging oxygen for carbon dioxide. But when we inhale a bunch of smoke, we're not actually exchanging good quality oxygen for carbon dioxide. We're exchanging carbon dioxide for more toxins. Those toxins permeate the body, just like the oxygen would have permeated the body. Drug abuse, just as an aside, we're really not going to talk much about drug abuse. It's obviously not a good thing. Drug abuse can physically change your brain's ability to make proper thoughts, including sensation, feeling full and happy. Relapse is very common in people who are drug abusers. It's not impossible for them to stop, but because of the physical changes that it creates in the brain, it can be very difficult for them to stop using drugs. The problem with drugs and health is that typically the drug abuser is not very hungry. They're not very motivated by food anymore. They're not motivated by exercise. They're not motivated by family. They're motivated by the drug itself. And that makes it very difficult for them to take in the proper nutrition. So they can become very malnourished, very dehydrated, and that makes their toxins work even faster and become even worse on their system, because without the food healing the organs, without the water and the liquids detoxing their system, it just is a recirculating toxin in their body. Drug abuse, of course, is not just about our illegal drugs. I think we have to be very careful looking at our pharmaceuticals. The body sees every pharmaceutical that you put in it, whether it's an antibiotic, a blood pressure medication, or an opioid, as a toxin. The liver has very specific mechanisms for making sure it detoxes those out. Phase 1 and Phase 2 hepatic detoxification are actually used by the drug companies to create an unusable form of drug into a usable form of drug by converting it from its original form to its metabolic or metabolized form. So it's not uncommon for drug companies to use the actual hepatic detoxification process to activate one of their pharmaceuticals. So drugs are, overall, just not a good thing. Now, drugs are something that we have to use when we have to use them. I'm not opposed to using pharmaceuticals. I was a pharmacist for 18 years. However, the body does not heal with pharmaceuticals. Pharmaceuticals are a Band-Aid. If we have high blood pressure, we're putting a Band-Aid on the blood pressure. If we have glaucoma, we're putting a Band-Aid on the glaucoma, and we're waiting for that disease to progress and a new pharmaceutical to be put on board, or something to break, and then we need surgery. Nutrition is a much better alternative, getting it into the body while we maintain our pharmaceuticals until the body is healthy enough for us as two individuals, doctor and patient, to have a conversation with Dr. A or B and start talking about reducing those pharmaceuticals out of the diet, reducing the dose, taking them off the plate completely. It's not uncommon for patients' blood pressure to come down, and they have to reduce those pharmaceuticals. It's not uncommon for patients' diabetes to have lower blood sugars, so they don't need the same pharmaceuticals that they need before. Alcoholism, I liked this quote. It's no secret that enjoying an adult beverage or two drains the body of vital nutrients faster than a Hummer takes to down a tank of gas. Alcohol is one of the only substances that we can absorb from our mouth. We don't have to have it go into the small intestines. That's why as soon as it hits the back of our throat, we get the buzz. It's because it's absorbed immediately. The body sees it as a neurotoxin. It is toxic to the brain and the neurological system. The liver goes into hyperdrive. We must get this out immediately. Alcohol intake for our body is like a funnel. The more we put in, it has enzymes that detoxify it, but those enzymes have only enough enzymes to detox so much for so fast, so we have a buildup of alcohol. Blood alcohol levels is what the police officers use to see how much alcohol we've drank in the last little bit, and it's because our body can't get rid of alcohol as quickly as we can drink it. I always recommend to my patients a couple of things. One, Nobody's really going to notice if you're at a social situation and you're not drinking alcohol. If you get seltzer water or something that looks fruity, they're really not going to pay any attention. And it's very rare for someone to go, how many have you drank so far? I've drank 5. Usually the people who are drinking more are more interested in what they're drinking than what you're drinking. The other thing is that if you do feel obligated to have something at a social situation, baby it. So you don't have to down that first glass of wine just because you're drinking with friends that have wine. You don't have to down an alcoholic beverage. You can sip your alcoholic beverage at the same time drinking plenty of water, giving your body the opportunity to detox that alcohol out of your system. Alcohol affects all of our vitamins, water soluble and fat soluble. It affects the minerals of our body. It affects our brain with mood and behavior, cardiomyopathy, the heart working very hard, arrhythmias, stroke, and high blood pressure, liver with stenosis, alcoholic fatty liver disease, which causes the liver to perform less optimally, pancreatitis, because alcohol is a sugar to our body, and the more alcohol we drink, the higher insulin levels. It irritates the pancreas. We get inflammation of the pancreas, pancreatitis. Cancers can be fed by any sugar, including alcohol, and because alcohol is a neurotoxin and a toxin, and it decreases the liver's ability to do anything else while we have alcohol on board, it can promote cancer and immune system dysfunction. And that goes back to the vitamin deficiencies. High blood pressure. There's essential high blood pressure, which basically they don't know the answer to essential high blood pressure. Something is causing high blood pressure, they don't have an answer. Secondary high blood pressure is usually caused by something, kidney disease, lung disease, liver disease. Something's happening in the brain, so our hormonal system isn't regulating the blood pressure properly. It's usually the secondary that the doctors are pretty good at fixing with their blood pressure medications. It's the essential hypertension that there is no known cause, that as a pharmacist you see patients on one pharmaceutical after another. This one's not going to work, let's do this one. That one's not going to work, let's do this one. Oh, that's not working, let's do a fluid pill. So we're not really getting to the crux of the problem, we're guessing. Obesity is definitely a lifestyle disease, and that goes for all of us. What we're eating is a huge part of what we see in the mirror every day. Yes, there can be some difficulty losing weight, but that just starts with eating better foods, getting that body to trust us. Same thing happens with the patients here in the office. We're just introducing foods that they haven't eaten in a long time, filling in the blanks with some supplementation so they get maximum nourishment. The weight will come off. The body needs to detox. The body uses fat cells as closets, as storage. When the body has toxins, those toxins are going to go into the fat cells. If the other organ systems, like the kidneys, the bowel, and the bladder are not working optimally, the body's not going to open up those closets and let that fat come out. It's too dangerous to release toxins from the system and not have them eliminated. The body's going to do it as it's ready. I did like this quote from the CDC. Additional contributing factors in our society include foods, physical activity, environment, education, skills, and this was my favorite, food, marketing, and promotion. There is nobody who spends more money on trying to get your dollars than the food industry. And now, of course, the pharmaceutical industry with ask your doctor about this drug and that drug. But the food industry is out there getting your dollars on processed, high-sugar foods. They're getting you addicted to these foods with the ingredients that they're putting in them intentionally. This is kind of the big picture. What we did was that we put together the 5 lifestyle diseases that we talked about and all of the corresponding diseases that can be attributed to these lifestyles. Every single one of them have at least 1, if not 2, lifestyle diseases that cause some of the 5 major reasons for death by the World Health Organization. So it's pretty impressive how much we actually have control over how healthy we are. So what is a healthy lifestyle? overall diet is going to be key. It has to be the first thing that we do, sometimes even before exercise, because our body is not strong enough to exercise in the beginning. That food is going to include wild-caught, free-range, grass-fed meat. And I don't like chicken, fine. There's fish, there's lamb, there's cow. Pick something that you like. What we're looking for here is amino acids. I tell my patients it's somebody that had a mom in the past, usually somebody that has a face. Those are going to be our amino acids. We're also looking for fatty acids. We're looking for our fatty vegetables like avocados, for example. We're looking for butter. We're looking for nuts and seeds, things that we can get good quality fatty acids. I'll back up. Amino acids are the building block of the human body. They are the brick and mortar of this building. That is what we use to make this building strong, amino acids. Fatty acids are going to be the stucco on the outside. They make our skin waterproof. They make our cell walls impermeable. They are the building blocks of our brain. They're energy for our heart. Amino acids and fatty acids work together. Digestive enzymes are going to be your worker bees. That's the guys that get things done. When we have a decrease in amino acids, things happen slower. And that's all processes. We had an amino acid seminar 6 or 8 months ago. One of the things that I found fascinating is that every one of us with proper digestive enzymes, will break down the amino acids in our meat instantaneously. Once it hits the stomach, the body starts breaking it down. At just normal body temperature, it would take 400 years for us to break down the bonds of meat if we just ate it with no digestive enzymes. I just found that fascinating. I also liken digestive enzymes to traveling from here to New Orleans. It's where I'm from originally. If we took an airplane, it would only take a couple of hours. But if we drive, it takes significantly more hours. Digestive enzyme is that airplane that takes us from Tampa to New Orleans almost instantaneously. We want to have plenty of rest, 6 to 8 hours of rest. Everybody differs, but that's what we're looking for. And we're looking for quality rest. We're looking for waking up in the morning and feeling like you have rested. Lowering our stress, handling our stress better is key. Our response to stress is what makes our bodies feel stressed out. So we just have to learn techniques that help us. Removing things out of our environment if possible. Working around things. Preparing for things. Seeing if we can't get something done using help. We're talking about kiddos here just really quickly. We're creating generations, not just a singular generation, generations of sick, dysfunctional humans. When we start feeding our children the toxins of sugars and processed foods, they start creating heart disease, diabetes, autoimmune diseases, and dysfunctions in their bodies when they are just very, very small. By the time our children reach puberty, they are sicker than we ever have been. We are seeing diseases in children that we have not seen in that population ever. We have to change the way we look at food, and it has to be something that starts at home. I tell one of my favorite stories. You know, I was going through this process as well. I started as a nutrition response testing patient, just like all of my patients did and do. As I was learning these things, my husband called me up and said, "What are we having for Thanksgiving? Are we having cranberry sauce?" And I'm on the phone, and I know he loves cranberry sauce. We've had cranberry sauce for the last 25 years. I was actually speechless. I'm sitting on the phone going, no, I'm not buying that. I can't do it. I love you. I love my family. My mom and dad are coming over for dinner. I don't want to poison myself with that can of stuff that looks like cranberry sauce. I'll figure something out. I got on the internet. I found a great recipe for a great cranberry sauce. I had never cooked anything like that before. The smell was amazing in the house. By the time they got home for Thanksgiving, they were at the pot eating the cranberry sauce out of the pot before it ever went on the table, finished that pot of cranberry sauce, and I had to make a second batch for us to sit down for Thanksgiving dinner. Real food is so much better than the stuff that we buy that's processed. Yes, it takes time. Yes, I have to learn how to cook. It takes a little bit of preparation and a little bit of planning, but the benefits to your body are just amazing. And more importantly, the benefits to the next generation, teaching them the value of eating good quality foods, teaching them how to cook is just so terribly important. So anybody who has grandkids, kids, please just think about that when we're looking. Hi, that's okay. When we're looking at the things that we're going to cook and how we're going to feed our families. And I know that kids can give us a hard time. I want this. I was that kid. I was. If we start them out early, before they ever know anything different, that makes a difference. If they're older and we have a little bit of a fight, start introducing things a little bit at a time until they get it in and they figure it out. The more we can teach them now, the healthier they're going to be. And bonus, they're going to share this with their kids.